I do think that there is definitely a space to share what you have going on in terms of what you're transacting. But if you're not transacting, just go with me here. You know you can still show up, right?
Hey friends, I'm Rosemary Lewis, your homegirl, and I'm so excited that you are here. I do not care what it looks like on Instagram or HGTV. This whole being a realtor thing is not for the faint at heart. In 2017, I quit my job as a teacher to follow my real estate dreams and quickly found myself overwhelmed and struggling. Fast forward to today. Not only have I been recognized as one of the leaders in our industry, I have actually grown a business that I absolutely love. I don't care if you're a brand new agent trying to figure out how to get started or a veteran feeling overwhelmed and just stuck. I was just like you, and I totally get it. Many times I wish there was someone that I could just talk to about all the challenges I was facing. And that is why I created this space just for you. Like best friends do, I'm giving you all the tea related to navigating and thriving in these real estate streets. If I can do it, guess what? That's proof that you can too. Everything's better with friends, so let's succeed together. Welcome to the Real Estate Bestie Podcast.
Hey besties. Okay, welcome to episode number 82, where we are going to talk about what should you do when you have nothing to do. So unless you have been living under a rock, right? And I'm having conversations with, the top producers. I'm having conversations with people who are just getting started. The market just looks a little bit different this year, especially for those of us who have either haven't been in the business for a long time or you've come into the business within the last couple of years. Interest rates, inventory, just a lot of things has business looking different. And for a lot of our besties, it's just a bit slower. And I wanted to talk about it really, literally this time in market is taking me back to when I first started out in 2018, because when I didn't have business, I just didn't know what to do. But there were some things that I did that were planting seeds for me to build a pipeline. And so I'm taking that knowledge of what my life looked like a couple of years ago, plus just some things that I've learned along the way, and just want to give you some ideas of things that you can be doing. And honestly, the things that I'm sharing today are not just things that you should be doing when you have nothing to do, but quite honestly, even if you have deals that you are currently transacting, things that are in the pipeline, you have things under contract. A lot of these activities are things that we should just be doing anyway, because what happens is that when those deals close, you get fired, right? And that is one of the hardest things that I think is hard to figure out. Like, how do I continue to prospect? What are my daily activities needing to be, not only when I'm looking to build my pipeline, but when I already have deals on the table? Because eventually when those people sell, when they buy, you are going to need new business. And these are just different activities that can help support you. But before we get into it, I want to give a shout out to S. Smith, who is a brand new agent that left us a review, a 5-star review, might I say, on the Real Estate Bestie podcast. So this is what she said. She said, as a brand new agent, I found this podcast to be extremely valuable. Rosemary is such a blessing and truly wants her besties to succeed, not only in the real estate industry, but in life. So first of all, S. Smith, thank you so much. And that is the absolute truth. And that's how I was when I was a classroom teacher. Now, don't get me wrong. I definitely love teaching. I have some subjects that I love teaching more than others, but I loved it when my kids would they would figure out this new strategy, or they became more fluent in their reading, or they developed confidence, just a greater sense of self. But what really got me going, I guess, was that last part, when they developed confidence, when I could just see them evolving as people and knowing that they had support. That that was the true magic in teaching for me. And that is the true magic of Real Estate Bestie. So yes, I want to see you make a whole lot of money. I want to see you live your very best life. I want to see you dream bigger and do more in this real estate space. But I also just want you to be super solid and confident in how you're showing up on a daily basis. So let's get into it. So what should you do when you don't have much to do? So before I tell you what you should do, I'm going to tell you what you should not do. Is you should not panic. I'm putting caution on it because I understand, like, girl, look, I got real bills. I have real obligations. I have real responsibilities. And I totally get that. I totally get that there is a lot going on in life and we need to produce. And this year has just looked different in terms of, I know a lot of agents started out this year thinking that it would look one way and having to pivot, but let's not panic. And the reason that I say not panic is because this mind is a battlefield. And I was just at Bible study the other night, and Jada Edwards, y'all need to check out Jada Edwards. She'll probably not punch me in real life if I call her my spiritual mom, but she really is a spiritual mentor to me and just one of the greatest Bible teachers that I've ever experienced in my life. In Bible study, she really talked about how the enemy, the devil, he definitely will go after our mind, but what he can't do is go after our heart. Like, our heart belongs to Jesus and he doesn't have any authority there. And once, like, when she said that the other day, it just clicked something in me because yes, the enemy will plant seeds and life is happening and all of these different things where our minds, we can go down a very, very dark path. And I know I'm not the only one, right? Where, you get out of bed, you stub your toe, then you remember you got $47 in the bank and you know what, like, throw the whole day, the whole week, the whole month away, right? And it all started from a stub toe, right? Because that's where we let our minds go. But the Bible also says that we have the ability to take every thought captive. So automatically, I don't care if you have sold, undersold this year, or you're just starting out, or you are exceeding your goals. I really want you all to really think about what it means to take these thoughts captive, to submit every anxious thought to Jesus, and to make the decision that, I'm going to do my best, not to be nervous, not to panic, but get in motion. Because what that panic and that anxiety does, it does nothing to help our deal flow, but just overwhelms us even more. So what I don't want you to do is to panic. Now, should we have a sense of urgency, right? Should we really narrow down our daily activities? Yes. Should there be, some changes or some non-negotiables put in place? Absolutely. But let's all agree that we not just go, the world is not falling apart. And even if it does feel like your world is falling apart, here's your reminder, sis. You have survived 100% of your worst days, okay? If you are listening to my voice, you made it and you will continue to make it. So let's talk about what we should do, okay? I was looking in a Facebook group the other day, and in the Facebook group, there was a question, and I'm seeing these type of questions come up where people are trying to figure out, okay, how do I build my pipeline? How do I show up? How do I do all these different things? But this particular question was, if you don't have any listings, how do you continue to show up? Or what do you do to show that you are a knowledgeable listing agent? And what I gathered from this question was that you have somebody who, at some point, probably, even if this was their reality or not, they're equating like actually having business to being the only reason why you can show up. And yes, I do think that there is definitely a space to share what you have going on in terms of what you're transacting. But if you're not transacting, just go with me here. You can still show up, right? As a matter of fact, I dare to tell you, I don't know if I ever told y'all this story, but I use a strategy that I'm going to talk to y'all about to show up. And I showed up in this way consistently. And at the time, I got the largest dollar amount lead that I ever had because of how I was showing up, because to that person, I was the expert, even though I wasn't in that space. And this is what I mean. 9 times out of 10, like, we're in the real estate world, right? And you can make anything look the way you want it to look on social media. And we have a more discerning eye because you're in the business. So whether or not somebody's closing, we know the difference between a closing and an open house and a contract and a lease and a walking a property. But let me tell you something. Most people on your timeline, they are not distinguishing each one of those activities. Okay. So if you post that you are in a new build community, then you post that you are having coffee with a real estate bestie, and you share a story on your walk about, what's coming in the neighborhood. And then on the next time you're talking about a new client you met, and the next time you are actually sharing a closing. And then the next time you are talking about just the different colors of bricks on houses. Guess what? To the person who is watching you, 9 times out of 10, they didn't realize that in all of those posts I just mentioned, only one of them was the actual closing, right? But what they do notice is that every time they see you, you are either working on your business, you're meeting with somebody, you're giving them knowledge about the area. And because of that, you are going to be deemed the expert. So my very first thing is like, look, find a way to show up and show up consistently in that way. So one thing that you can do when you have nothing to do is you do still have a real estate license, right? So with that real estate license, you can do a couple things. You can go and you can do some previews of homes. You can reach out to agents to say, hey, is it okay? You know what? You listed a house right up the street from my house. Instead of being a hater, because that's not your sign. Hey, you listed a house right up the street from my house. It's absolutely gorgeous. I actually know a lot of people in the area. Are you cool if I go and do a walkthrough and post it to my Facebook, right? Now, definitely get permission, but 9 times out of 10, y'all, the agent is going to say yes, because this market is funky for them too, and they're trying to get the listing sold, okay? So that's something that you can do. So if you are, always touring homes and showing homes, or even maybe don't even show the entire home, how about you just show a feature like, oh my gosh, I was looking at houses today and look at this doggy shower, or look at this, like, are you yay or nay for pot fillers, or how do we feel about this wallpaper? The more that you're doing that, right, then what you are doing is you are pushing out into the atmosphere like, hey, I'm in these real estate streets, okay? So finding ways to show up. And then if and when I say show up, not just showing up on social media, but literally showing up with, like, showing some real estate activity, showing your craft. And if for whatever reason, let's just say you get on the phone with one listing agent and they're not, it's not a good fit. They don't want you to market their property. That's fine. Keep it moving and go to the next one, right? That's fine. Go to a new construction community. But that's definitely something to do. As I was referring to that story of me, I used to do this thing that I called Friday favorites. And listen, if you follow me on Facebook, I'm going back to it. I'm not going to commit to doing it on Fridays, but once a week, I am going back to doing a property tour where, I just choose a baller listing. A lot of times I choose something new construction, and I'm just going to walk in and have conversation and get engagement. And by doing that, when I first got started, I had nothing to do. So I just knew all the builders, right? I went to new construction a couple times a week. I walked the floor plans. I posted it on my social media. So not only did it start to plant seeds with my sphere of influence on social media that, hey, I'm in real estate, it also started to solidify me, and I didn't even know this wasn't even my goal, as a new construction expert, right? Because I knew all the builders, I knew the floor plans, I knew who did this, I knew what the incentives were, and I talked about it on social media. And y'all, that's like, I had a friend, kind of sort of friend, somebody who decided she was going to buy new construction. And at that time, I'd never done a build job with anybody, but she chose me because when I didn't have nothing to do, I continued to show up on social media showing houses. Okay, so that's something that you could do. All right, here's something else. When you have nothing to do, what do? Pick up the phone. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Block off time in your day, every single day, where you are picking up the phone. And I'm not going to tell you that you have to do it for 4 hours. I'm not going to tell you have to do it for 4 minutes. But there should be an intentional reach out every single day where you are picking up the phone and you are dialing. And I already hear you. Okay, so hush up. I'm your friend. Who am I going to call, Rosemary? Okay, this is who you're going to call. Everybody. Okay, so if you have had clients, okay, call those past clients. Pick up the phone and call those past clients. Call them and see, you know what? What color is that paint color? I saw that you did a purple in your baby girl's room. Oh my gosh, when I can't even believe when we bought the house, I had no idea. Like, we didn't even know that you were gonna have little Macy, and here she is in a purple room. But what color is that purple? And how are you doing? And then it evolves from there. Okay, so you don't have past clients. You said, I just got licensed yesterday. That is fine. Pick up the phone and just start talking to people that you know. Call your friends. I don't care what it looks like. When I start calling on a daily basis, I love to start calling with a win. I want a small win every single day. So I always start my calls with calling somebody who loves me. Okay. So a lot of times it's my friend Kim. Sometimes it's my husband. Well, I normally have just left home with him. It might be my dad. It used to be my mom. But, just literally being a solid person, calling somebody. And look, we get the cheat code with social media. So you can even it's not weird. I just had somebody not too long ago that I picked up the phone and I called them. Hadn't talked to them in forever. But when I called them, I was legitly like, oh my goodness. So first of all, I remember when I met you and your daughter was a 7th grader. And now she's a senior, headed to homecoming and headed to college. I'm all in my feelings. So I know you're in your feelings. Y'all, how are you doing, mama? Okay. Just calling to plant that seed. And then, of course, in the conversation, I was able to pull it to, some real estate conversation and just planting the seeds. So getting into having how's your business going? Oh, business is going good. But this is really what I'm working on. Here are where my listings are. Let me know if there's ever anybody that that I could support. Make sure you put us on a group chat so that, I can help them out and help them with their purchasing or whatever that looks like. So making sure that you are picking up the phone and calling people you don't know. Okay. Then here's another one. I want you to get out the house and meet some folks. Okay, that's something else. I get it. With the pandemic, we all were working from home, and it's clutch. I like working from home too. Actually, I like working from home, but I purposely went out and got an office. Not that you have to have an office. I didn't have one forever, and I really got an office because I have a team now. But there is something to be said about getting out and getting around movement. I thrive better with movement and getting out and meeting people. And when you meet people, look up, okay? Stop looking at your phone the whole time you're getting your nails done. Stop looking at your phone the whole time you're in Starbucks. Even if you are out meeting with somebody else, are there opportunities for you to connect with other people? Yesterday, I went out to sushi with one of my real life real estate besties, just checking in. And literally right next to us, there was a lady who was just nice, right? So she asked us, because she could hear where we were seated, she could hear, she was within earshot of our conversation. So as me and my friend were trying to decide what to get, we were new to the sushi spot and she'd eaten there before. So she gave us a recommendation and, we took her recommendation. And then at some point she asked us, do y'all want to take a picture? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, but I also want to take a picture with you. So just from being nice and not being standoffish or not just kind of answering her question, we weren't just cordial, we were welcoming. And from being welcoming, y'all, when I left that sushi dinner, not only did we connect on LinkedIn, she didn't have Instagram because she's a nurse practitioner, but we connected on LinkedIn. She told me she just got engaged. She asked me if I had knowledge of VA loans. I was able to share some knowledge, and I was able to share with her a restaurant recommendation. And this morning we were communicating on LinkedIn. You know why? Because I decided when I really was tired and didn't feel like it to go have sushi with my friend and make every opportunity an opportunity to meet somebody new and expand my network. So I'm gonna report back to you. If nothing else ever comes of if this lady doesn't buy a house from me, that's fine. But she has a network that I can tap into, or I can find ways to provide resources to her. So get out the house. Okay. Get out the house. Okay. Here's something else that you can do. This is going to sound maybe it won't sound crazy to y'all. one thing that I notice is that be for somebody else what you want somebody to be for you. And here's what I mean. What business can you promote? Can you support? What effort can you get behind? And one great thing to do is get out and support some small businesses. Okay. So get into your local community. And this is going to be a lot of fold, like triple fold, quadruple fold on how this is going to bless you. First of all, you get out and you support small business because small business owners have it hard. Okay. And don't get me wrong. I love a good Starbucks. I love Target. I love a lot of these places. But if you have small business, small things in your community where you serve, get to know those businesses and the ones that you vibe with. Not only do you want to meet the business owners, you want to let them know like, hey, I'm Rosemary Lewis. I'm a local real estate broker. I actually love the tea here. Are you cool if I post you on my social media? Is it okay if I'll go ahead and include you in my newsletter, right? And not only do you get to develop a relationship with that business owner and support, like truly support their business, but now it's going to be an opportunity for the people, because I don't know about you, but like, I'm not trying to be the real estate to everybody in the whole world. I really want my niche area where I do business. Like I want to be 5 mile famous. You know what that is, right? Like within a 5 mile radius, everybody know you. That is my goal, right? And one way to do that is to consistently put people on. And if you're going into these small businesses, if you're going to these restaurants, if you're trying, this person's tea or whatever, and you are now like the plug, now that is just heightening and showing everybody that you're a resource. So that's definitely something you can do when you don't have anything to do. Okay, here's something else you can do when you don't have anything to do. Do you know a homeowner? You probably know a few homeowners. Listen, go in your phone and text all your friends. I just did this recently to all my friends. Hey, I need your house address and I need your email address. Okay. And with their house address and their email address, you know what I did? I went into my CRM and I created a search for them where I am showing them monthly, right? I'm automated. This is one of my systems where I get to stay in front of them. I'm just sending them a monthly market activity report where monthly they are going to just get an email from me to say, hey, I'm keeping you updated on what's happening in your neighborhood, right? And I can go back later and I can check that. I can see what they're looking. I can give them some feedback on like their equity. Okay, you want to make an improvement. You saw that house that was just like yours, but it had an updated kitchen and a pool. It sold for this number. So that's a good marker for us to figure out, if this is a good investment for you to put in your house. Like that is something super, super, super simple, dare I say, that you do where you get to provide value to people before they're ready to sell. Because this is what happens, unfortunately, is that a lot of times we are so busy looking for that right now money. And I'm with you. Like, I know you're like, yeah, duh, my rent is due now, not in 3 years. I digress, right? But we so busy looking for the right now money that we forget the power of planting long-term seeds. And the beautiful thing about planting these long-term seeds is that when they pop, they pop. Like when my family, we went to Dubai, and I remember going to like the Magic Garden, I think it was called. And I was just thinking like, oh my gosh, look at all of these things blooming at once. But I know that it wasn't like that when they first started planting the seeds, or even, just go with me here, right? You have to water these seeds, but when the garden blooms, it blooms. So just find different ways. Who do you know already that has a home? Like, go back to my example of that friend who I called. Her kid is graduating from high school. Let all them kids graduate from high school. Guess what? She's going to be looking to upsize, downsize, like life change something. But that seed that I planted now will end up blooming. So that's definitely something that we can spend time doing. Okay. So making sure that you are providing some sort of value and resource with data to every homeowner that you know. So you can do it. My suggestion is to do it once monthly, and then maybe once or twice a year you actually mail them an actual report just so they can see, okay, this is how market performed in your area in the last 6 months. And you never know, like, again, if they never sell, but now you are continuing to stay top of mind because when you didn't have nothing to do, you set up these systems, Now, when their neighbor tells them, hey, we're actually getting relocated to Montana, they're like, oh, my friend is a realtor. She's been keeping me updated with what's happening in the market. Now you should give her a call. Okay. So that's something that you can do. Okay. Now, here is another thing. I want you to show up on social media, get in stories, and I want you to start talking about the problems that people have in real estate, but in a story type way, right? Hey, you know what? I actually just did this not too long ago. Hey, I just left a new construction walkthrough. And I know some of y'all might be wondering, right? Like, ooh, a new construction walkthrough. You got a client buying with these interest rates? I sure do. And let me tell you why they decided to buy is because they understand that when and if the rates go down to 5%, if they're not already in this home, what's going to happen? Exactly. History is going to repeat itself. The market is going to shoot way up. All the buyers who are on the sidelines right now are going to come back in the marketplace, and then they're not going to be able to compete. So what they decided to do was go ahead and get the house now. And then if the interest rates come down, guess what? They're still going to benefit, but they're even going to benefit even more, because instead of waiting for interest rates to come down, they're going to be able to get builder incentives. We're going to be able to get the house they want. We're going to be able to get all the finishes because builders are going to be running low on supply, and voila, they will just refinance later. That is so much more than saying, hey, if you're thinking about buying or selling, let me know. No, I'm giving you a story. I'm like walking you down the path. So showing up and having those conversations. And if you don't have a client, right, that has actually experienced that, y'all start listening to podcasts, listen to your office meetings. Like, what are scenarios that you're hearing in market that now you can go out there? And I'm not telling you to give false information like it's just yours, but like, hey, I was just on the phone with a friend, or I was just in a meeting, and did you know that VA buyers can do this? Because I don't think most people know that. So the more that we are showing up and we are taking, what happens is when we tell stories is that we give people quote unquote permission to put themselves in that story, and it makes it more real for them. So that's definitely something that you can be doing when you don't have anything to do. Okay. And then here is the last thing that I'm going to give you on this day. Okay. The last thing that you can be doing when you have nothing to do, listen, is just show some gratitude, right? There is something, not just show gratitude, but having an attitude of gratitude. So literally starting your day off, I try to think of, and this is new for me, especially, you all know, my girlfriend went to heaven a couple weeks ago, and it's rocking me to my core. But I have, like, before I get out of bed each day, I just try to think of like one or two things that I'm really grateful for. And it's not like I'm grateful for, it's anything, but I'm really trying to think of like my everyday, when somebody gets sick or something shifts, sometimes you don't appreciate some of our just everyday conveniences. So like, Lord, I'm grateful that all my pinky toes feel good today. I only got 2 pinky toes, by the way, but bump a pinky toe. You're going to be grateful for them days that your pinky toe does feel good. Or, you know what? I am grateful that every need has been met, right? Okay, maybe, we didn't sell quadrillion number of houses this month, but every need in my family was met, right? Or maybe the needs weren't met, but you know what? We still here, right? The lights are still on this moment. So finding something to be grateful for, and I'm going to go back where I just started, is like, because that's where the enemy wants to get you. You get that, right? Like, if somebody can get your mind, then it's a wrap. But we have the power to take every thought captive. But that comes with every day actively working to renew your mind. So in these down seasons, where can you really plug into who you are and whose you are? Ooh, she's sort of preaching a little bit, but I'm just telling you that because even me, like there can just be times where I can let my mind go in a whole bunch of different places. And I know God is like, are you kidding me right now? Like, are you kidding me that, because these one or two things are happening, or because, I don't even care if a million things are happening. Like, I am still God. I'm still on the throne and I still have you. So starting your day off, starting your week off, starting your month off, starting your minute off, just with that mindset of, okay, where can I find gratitude? Trust me, it is going to help you show up in other spaces in different ways. Okay. All right. So that's what I got for you today. So these are just ways to show up, okay, when you don't have nothing to do. Here are just a few ideas of things to do. And speaking of things to do, this is what I want you to like hit stop. Well, I'm almost done on the podcast right now. If you have not given us a 5-star review, and if you could write a little something, that would mean the world to me, because that is how, y'all know how these algorithms work. We have to teach the algorithm like, yes, Real Estate Bestie is a needed space for real estate agents. And not only am I grateful, but I want to help it grow so that other agents who may not know what to do when they don't have nothing to do, so that they can find the podcast. And of course, if you hit that share button, I will be forever grateful to you. So I hope that this was helpful. I can't wait to see you, well, chat with you, hear you on social media, all those things. But we'll be right back here for the Real Estate Bestie podcast next week. All right, friends. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode and you have a real life bestie that you think it would resonate with, y'all, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that share button, because you know what? We are better together. Make sure you share the podcast, and I appreciate your reviews. I appreciate you giving me 5 stars more than you know. I'll talk to you next week.